So you are truly a champion if you are watching this video and you've made it through all of the previous 9 do not sync videos. If you didn't, I'll link them below in the description box. I have a playlist. If you're still watching this video after all of those, you're probably fitting into one of 2 camps. Number 1, you're definitely having some second thoughts, some doubts, but you certainly want to hear me out to the end of this series to really make your decision, which I think is a very wise thing. Or 2, you feel even more dedicated and determined to pursue sync licensing because either you're desperate enough, hungry enough, determined enough, or crazy enough, or probably all of those together. So I commend you for getting through these. I know these have not been easy videos to get through. I have heard from many of you in comments, emails, posts in Sync Academy feeling very discouraged by what I'm sharing with you in these videos. And like it or not, that's the point. The whole point of these videos is to give you guys some really tough, honest truths about this industry, and all in one cohesive series. I've been talking about all these issues in various videos throughout my entire channel's career, but I wanted to have a cohesive one-stop shop playlist so that you could just get like the rough parts of this industry out of the way. So you just know exactly what you're up against, because if you can get through these 10 videos and still feel like you've got a shot at this, then you at least have your eyes wide open and you're fully 100% prepared for what this industry has in store for you. And that's my job. My job is to try to prepare you as best I possibly can for the really amazing and difficult journey that's ahead of you in sync licensing. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up this series with video number 10, which is the future is just too uncertain right now. We have so many things happening in our industry, disrupting our industry. And while there is a case to be made for there's an optimistic future in all of this, and I obviously still feel that there are some optimistic parts of our industry, I'm going to be honest in that not all of it is working in our favor, and not all of it feels very promising and exciting for our industry as music composers earning income through sync licensing. So I'm going to just summarize what the top headwinds are essentially the things that I feel are going to be the biggest obstacles coming into our world, how we can potentially navigate that, of course, but I want you guys to be aware of just how I honestly feel about the future of our industry. We're in this interesting precipice here where we're either on the brink of some amazing new revenue sources with all the new technology that's being developed for music creators, or we're at the beginning of the end of essentially being able to create some decent income with our music. I can't actually tell at this point where we are in all of that stuff. I tend to want to, focus and be more interested in the optimistic side of that equation. But you need to know that there are some real obstacles in front of us. Okay, obviously AI, we just talked about that in the last video. I don't need to go into all of the specifics again. But AI was the one thing that gave me the most amount of pause for the bright future of sync licensing. Okay, in all of the years I've been in this industry, I've been started since 2008, started Sync My Music, my YouTube channel in 2016, been coaching hundreds, thousands of producers ever since then, and always felt that we had just the brightest and the most amazing and the most lucrative future, especially comparing it to everything else going on in the music industry. And then AI popped its head up this year, and that was the first time where I said, whoa, this is a big potential problem for us. We need to keep our eye on this. We need to sort of wrap our heads around this, and we need to do anything that we possibly can now to put ourselves in a stronger position if this technology is going to potentially become our competitor. Okay, so that's definitely in our future. We got to deal with that. Streaming trends are increasing. So if you haven't been following this story, I started noticing this in around 2014, 2015. Netflix was pretty much the only streaming service that was out there, but I saw that there was more and more interest and attention going into streaming services because, frankly, they were just a lot cheaper than the cable subscriptions that people were having. But it wasn't fully disrupting the industry. It was just kind of the slow trickle happening. But royalties for those streaming services, at least those streaming platforms right now, are like a 90 to 95% pay cut in terms of the kinds of royalties that we earn in this business. I've shared some of those in some of my videos. If you're not aware, that's what we're facing right now. So this was the first year, I believe, where we actually had the first tipping point where more people were subscribed to a streaming service versus people that were still subscribed to a cable subscription. Okay, so we're now seeing this massive tipping point where more and more people are jumping into streaming services and bailing on their cable subscriptions. Of course, it's not everybody, and I still feel like the older generation will probably keep their cable subscription until they pass away. I just don't think most people probably in the older demographics are interested in cutting and changing habits and watching something new and learning all about an Apple TV or something like that. I think a lot of people, and there's going to be a good significant chunk of the industry that remains loyal to the cable subscription service for a long time. But as this trend continues, what does that mean for us? Right now, there's barely any advertising revenue coming into the streaming services. I think that's something that's going to probably increase more as time goes on. It's definitely what I'm hearing a lot from the industry as I follow that side of the business, that just having customers pay for a $20 a month subscription fee is not enough to keep these streaming services in business. They're going to have to add more revenue, which means they're going to have to add more subscription-based or advertising-based tiers. So they're a little bit cheaper, but it exposes the audience to more ads. So I think that that's going to increase our royalties and our income, but that's certainly something we got to be keeping an eye on for our future. Also, just generally, we all know this, that attention spans right now, due to social media and apps like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all that stuff, our attention spans collectively is just getting shorter and shorter. So I think about this a lot, like, will there ever really be, or will there be a need for TV shows or long form film movies, like 2-hour movies, in 5-10 years? Like, I'm already feeling myself, some of you guys, think of the last time you watched the movie, and not in the theater, but like at home, just sitting on your couch watching a movie. Could you get through an entire movie without pulling up your phone and distracting yourself with something because the movie just kind of lost your attention for a second? Great movies obviously can prevent you from doing that, but most movies are average and they kind of barely get you entertained. And we're now so used to just changing the channel, on our phones every 10, 20 seconds that our audience's, attention span is going to be there. I think the younger generation, for sure, their attention span has got to be a lot shorter than yours and I's, or even the older generations, right? So this is something we got to be contending with. This might mean that our entire focus in the next 5 to 10 years goes completely away from TV and film, the traditional models that we've been looking to license our music, and into shorts and TikTok videos and Instagram stories and that kind of stuff, right? And there's going to be a lot of money for that kind of opportunity. Where are the opportunities going to be? How numerous are they going to be? Are these content creators going to be more interested in using an AI algorithm to put music into their, TikTok videos or whatever, as opposed to spending the higher quality premium money for content from you and I? Some of them will, but the vast majority of them, I would imagine, are just thinking about, I don't want to spend a lot of money for music. Can I just pay $9.99 a month to get unlimited access to AI music that's good enough for what I'm doing? Sure, I can see a lot of people doing that. So that's certainly something we got to keep an eye on. And then also a much broader, even zooming out more, from my childhood, I can remember this because music was much more rare and unique and special back then, because not everybody could make it, not everybody could broadcast it. If you guys remember, when your favorite song came on the radio, what did you do? You'd put in your tape into your cassette player and record it. Or you'd hear somebody say, hey, coming up is whatever song from this artist. And you would literally sit there and wait because you loved that song and you didn't want to miss it. And you knew they only played it like a couple of times a day. So you'd literally make yourself busy and sit around and wait for a song to get played. Do we do that at all these days? No, because we've got music on demand. We can skip anything. We can go back. We can replay anything. Music as a whole, even though it's become much more ubiquitous, it's all over. We can get access to it all the time. It's now not that special. It's not that interesting because it's super saturated. There's a million bands now. There's a million ways to get music. You can get it while you're in your car, while you're at work. You can get it in your headbuds while you're doing whatever you're doing your laundry. Music is literally just like water flowing out of a tap now. So it's not as interesting. It's not as unique. It's not as special, really. I still love music, and I know you and we love music, but you got to be honest about it. It's not as special as it was previously, because just for the fact that it was just harder to get, and now it's just much more easy and readily and cheap to get. So what does that mean for us, people that make our living or are trying to make our living creating high quality music? We're kind of creating an asset that is losing its value across the board all over the place, and that certainly can have ramifications for the sync licensing industry. Okay, so hopefully by now with these 10 videos, I have convinced you maybe to throw in the towel. Maybe this is not a great industry for you to be a part of. Maybe you heard some exciting things about it and you thought it was going to be a good fit, but now you're realizing there's a lot here that I am not loving, and it feels like the odds are just too stacked against me, and maybe this is just not something I should waste my time on, I applaud you if that's your move. If that's what you want to do after watching these 10 videos, I think as long as you feel that that's the right decision for you, that's a great decision, because this is not a business for everybody. I've constantly said this on many videos in my channel's history, that this is not an industry or a business for most producers, most artists, certainly not bands or songwriters or singer-songwriters. I've come up against so many people trying to get into this industry, giving them the just real honest truth, like you've been hearing in these 10 videos, and they go like, whoa, no thanks, I'm gonna go find something else. And that's a great decision to make if you feel like it's not a right fit for you. However, if you made it through these 10 videos and you still want to pursue sync licensing, then I think you've got something, okay? Because again, you're probably desperate, hungry, crazy enough, ready for this, that now that you know what's going to be coming against you, and you still feel like you've got some value and something to get excited about this industry, then you will certainly stand alone among the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of producers that are discovering this industry every single year, jumping into it. The last thing I will leave you guys all with, it'll be a very helpful, a positive note, even though this whole series has been fairly negative. I've made this analogy many times, and I'm going to finish this video with it, that even though this industry feels very crowded when you're getting started, because maybe you found my channel and you see other people talking about sync, and it's like, man, everybody's talking about sync. Is there really even a space for me? It is very crowded in the beginning phases of this industry, which we call like the waiting room. The waiting room is a place where a lot of people learn about sync licensing, jump into it, they get excited about it, they throw their music at a couple of libraries, they do some research, all that good stuff. And as the months go on, this waiting room that might seem like it's just ridiculously crowded gets a little bit less crowded and less crowded and less crowded. And 6 months in, probably half of them are gone. 1 year in, another half are gone. 2 years in, there's probably 5 to 10% of you guys left. Most people by that point have gotten distracted. They're off onto NFTs or some other money-making scheme. And because they weren't willing to go for the long haul in this industry to realize what they really is up against, what they're up against, they do not stick with it. So if you are one of the few desperate, crazy, excited, dedicated producers that has that long-term mindset, that can stick with this for the long haul, that can get through those ups and downs, and hopefully you have a community, you have people around you that can help you stick with something like this, then you can become that I think it's literally like 3 to 5% of producers that stick with this long enough to start seeing those positive results coming in through the form of placements, income, contracts, sync fees, consideration fees, all the really amazing stuff that is still a part of this industry, even though there's a lot of negative sides to it. So that's Do Not Sync, guys. I appreciate your time, and I really value you guys checking this out and taking this seriously, and I hope you are not too mad at me. You can be a little mad at me, of course, for what I'm saying here, but please know that I'm doing this out of love. I'm doing this out of trying to be a proper, mentor, coach, educator, whatever you want to call me. I'm trying to do this, taking my job very, very responsibly for what I'm doing here, trying to get you guys properly prepared for sync licensing. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear, what did you think about the Do Not Sync series? Did you learn something you didn't know? Do you feel fully bummed out? Are you giving up? Are you throwing in the towel? Are you doubling down now? Where are you with this? I need to take the temperature. I'd love to know what you guys feel about sync licensing and the series in general. Thank you so much for watching.